Kate MacGregor, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have a chat with you. For one reason, I think not enough people get out of the office, and you get out of the office by design. Tell me about your business, because I think you've got a great story, and you're doing something pretty clever, helping business owners, I guess, get out of the office, free up more time, see the bigger picture for their business. So let's have a good old chat. Where did it all start for you, though?
Where did it all start? This iteration of my business started during COVID time, first lockdown.
Nice.
Previous to that, I had the business just doing different things. So I was kind of doing some virtual assistant type work, helping people with social media, just things that I naturally knew how to do and help people with. Had just come out of the corporate world, and was helping some friends with their own business on the side. So I actually had the name Out of Office before I had the business.
Cool.
That came from some conversations with some flatmates once in Wellington about having an area where people would come, essentially what is now known as like a co-working cafe, but back then was not a thing.
True.
And that was around the time that the Kaikoura earthquake happened, and people weren't able to work in their offices in Wellington. It was closed down for a little while. So, but then we decided we didn't want to have a cafe because we'd have to get up too early and make coffee for people.
Yeah, fair enough.
So when the opportunity came to kind of kickstart this business, Out of Office was a good theme because it's kind of my life motto. Having that work-life balance, but actually more of a life balance with work around it.
Talk to me about that, because I think that's a thing that, as business owners and all business owners maybe struggle sometimes with at some stage around balance. So what's your philosophy around it and how you help business owners?
Yeah, well, I think as solopreneurs or entrepreneurs, we can get really, our businesses are our babies, right? We're in love with them. We can work 24/7 of them if we wanted to. Very common conversation these days around burnout, things like that. So it's just about getting that, what used to be an elusive work-life balance. I think the more that businesses have been able to go online and work from home or work from anywhere, that can almost be harder to get the work-life balance. Because work can be any time. So I'm really passionate about that. I myself love to travel and work from anywhere, and so I'm really passionate about that for my clients too. And this, by doing the service that I provide, helping people with their online digital products and just be as efficient as possible and automate as much as possible, allows them to free up more time to get out of office too, for their families, for whatever they started their businesses for originally, which wasn't to be in the office 24/7. It was definitely nobody's why.
So true. My why. Work harder than ever before.
To work a lot.
I think that we'll have a really good conversation around that, especially around that efficiencies and how to actually, to some degree, buy back your time and make that automation. I think you made a good point though. Work where I can be, like where I want to be, right? Like I think that's definitely in life by design. Do you think that's available to most business owners? Like even if you're a bricks and mortar business, can you still, like I have a few clients and they have retail stores and they always have to be there. How does that? How would you think?
I think there's different versions of it for people. Like I'm I don't have kids. I don't have a partner. I'm able to just flit away and be anywhere and work from anywhere. But I think not everybody wants that either.
No.
So for a bricks and mortar business, for example, it's structuring your staff or your opening hours or your working ethics, how you want it to be, so that you can factor in what you need. And almost actually it's flipping the opposite, but it's a big mindset shift as to how does your life look and then how does your work fit into that. And it's really difficult, especially if you've, I think, been in business for a long time, because that's all we've known growing up is the not even 9 to 5, longer than that, work ethic, work hard to make money. So just trying to flip the mindset on that. I came from a family of bricks and mortar business at Foursquare. Dad worked really long hours, bakery open first thing in the morning through to late night, 7 days a week. So I think that's probably where it came from for me a little bit too, not wanting that. You can see what you don't want. I think by design's a really good point, right? So it's out of office by design. You've got to design what you want, right? And I think that's some of the areas we could talk about today. I always remember talking to a good friend of mine had a wine shop, and I remember talking to him one day, and I could tell he was frustrated because he was working, a lot, right? He was in the retail store. And I said, let's do the numbers on when people actually buy, because on the till it tells you when people come in. And we found between, basically 4:30 and 9, 80% of the sales were done. I said, well, let's just shut down the rest of the time. Morning,
Like they shut down and not do those hours. And obviously he got to get deliveries and all that sort of stuff in. Does it guarantee you're missing sales by not having an extra person working there at that time? And then sadly the earthquakes hit here, so he didn't get the opportunity. But I was just like, if you really look at the numbers of stuff, maybe you can actually have the ability to change, because what you're doing is not working, and you're thinking of an old paradigm versus looking at, okay, well, what are the numbers going to tell me? I think that's interesting, and not enough people are prepared to look at that, and then they take what's coming and the same old, right?
It's obviously it's a risk you have to take to start off with as well, to try and, especially if you've been in it for a long time. But we're able to test waters and see how things work and go back to the old way if that's working.
What drives you to set this sort of what's your why behind this? Obviously you like traveling and working, but what's so important?
I mean, freedom is the big word everyone throws around, right? And freedom to me is just being able to do and be where I want to, or where I feel like being at any time, or where I need to be at any time as well for others, and having the flexibility to do that. I've got a friend on maternity leave at the moment, and I was just able to have brunch with her this morning because she's off work at the moment. She's a nurse, so she doesn't have that freedom otherwise usually.
Yeah, true.
And I'm able to go, I'll plan my other work around that today, and here I am. It's really nice.
You think more and more people are looking at this and going, you know what, I want to work a little bit less and have a bit more freedom in my life. What I find generally is those people probably end up making the same amount of money anyway,
That's it. Yeah. I don't think working hours, I mean, an hourly rate, depending on what kind of business you're in, does not equal, the more work does not equal the more money anymore if you're smarter about it. And it's not trickery, smartness. No. It's just some really basic things that are available to us now to be able to do and scale
So let's look at a typical business owner that you might help. You think of one and tell me how you help them. Like, what is it that you sit down and do, and on a day-to-day? So if someone came to you, what is the problem that they're trying to solve?
Usually I'm working with clients that have digital products, so mostly online businesses.
Nice. So they're selling a course, or they're selling?
They have communities, memberships, online courses, ebooks, podcasts, whatever it is, all sort of in the ether and on the internet, not so physical. And what I'm helping them with mostly is strategy and technology to get set up and be able to manage that themselves, or have it self-managed, and then be able to also scale it. So getting it set right from the start and all the way through. Okay. And usually that's for people that are either established in business already and just haven't quite locked into that digital space. So they maybe coaches working one-to-one with people, and their time is at capacity because they're already full with all their coaching clients, and they just need something more to be able to scale or help more people. Okay,
so I have a few coaches that definitely listen to this podcast, and they'll be very happy right now because I'm going to get Kate to tell us exactly how she does this. So, okay, let's say I'm a coach. Let's say I'm a leadership coach. There's lots of leadership coaches out there now, and I'm working one-to-one, and I work in tertiary education. I work with principals. I work with a whole bunch of different levels of teachers and stuff. How would you help me take my IP essentially and put it into because I think it's a great idea. I think everyone in this kind of space should be looking at that. How do I package my IP? How do I value my IP? And how do I put it into an area that is, one, safe, and two, user-friendly?
User-friendly, that's it. And it's to start off with, it's getting a big brain dump out. What is your IP? What are the things that you are constantly repeating? Also, what are your priorities? Like if you enjoy working one-to-one with people and you don't want to let that go, what is it that we can help support that? If you love speaking and actually less working one-on-one with people, then how can we balance that out? And therefore, how can we still support those one-on-one clients? And I think what we know as an online course, especially since COVID times, is changing. It's a hybrid now. But where I see coaches and leadership coaches especially using an online course as a product is more to support their existing clients or customers without them having to repeat the same thing over and over again. Having that IP package, two things: it frees up their time to do what they want to do, but it also allows the customer the time to learn in their own time frame as well. So there's no bottleneck in the business. They get to learn maybe the foundations and then jump on their one-on-one calls with you. Could be that it's homework in between the one-on-one calls. Opens up the one-on-one time to be really, really efficient. And deep. Because you already have done the base work or the groundwork, and everyone's on the same level as what you're up to.
So to some degree, it's a transfer of knowledge, like out of your head and into a platform, what sort of platforms do you recommend and use?
Yeah, so I'm a solid user of Kajabi. Anyone that knows me will know that.
Yeah.
I'm known as Kajabi Kate here in New Zealand. And
look, a lot of the big guys and girls use that, right? Like
absolutely.
It's a really well-known platform.
Very well-known platform. It's what we call an all-in-one platform because not only can you host your IP there, so your course, your coaching programs or your memberships, but it's a wraparound services too. So what do you need for that? We need a login, we need a payment processor, we might need a landing page or a website to go with it, and it's all in one. So yeah, I like to help people on that platform especially.
And so how would that work? So we record some videos, or do you like help map that out? Like take me through. Like, just pretend I know nothing.
Yeah. So I would have an essentially like a briefing session with you to figure out what it is we're wanting to get online, and then plan it out from there. So there's two sides of it. There's your IP, and then there's so that's the content, and then there's the rest of it. How are we housing it? What does the brand look like? Who are we delivering it to? Are people paying for it, or are we giving it as part of another package? The user journey is very important to me, the customer journey. Yeah. Another reason why I use Kajabi, because it's nice and smooth for people. Just plan it out with people. So we have the briefing session, and then I work one-on-one with you to keep on that plan, that project plan, and get the content sorted, get the framework sorted, put it all together, show you how to use it, show your team how to use it. It's really important too.
I can see a great way for it to be supplementing what you're doing, right? So if you're, doing your one-on-ones and stuff like that, you can obviously upload even like what you're doing, record it, upload it as a session as well. And can you have like attach other notes to it, like PDFs and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, downloadable content, audio content. We can have it all in one place. The nice thing is what we're seeing now too out of COVID, definitely, out the other side of COVID, is more of a hybrid effect. So just an online course isn't enough anymore. People are zoomed out. People are they can't keep up. They can't self-motivate necessarily. So hybrid means having that knowledge there for people to be able to self-learn, also with you live in there. So whether that's online or in person, once a month, once a week, and with that group or cohort to prompt them through it. And then another huge thing that we're seeing, the next trend or current trend growing, community, massive.
Nice.
Yeah. People need to be surrounded by their same people,
help
them learn and grow, know that they're supported, know there's other people in the same position as them.
So when you mean community, say like other coaches or other people being coached?
Other people being coached. But a very popular thing in a cohort way is having other coaches or specialists come into your area with those people that you're coaching.
Brilliant.
Getting them engaged, incentivizing them to learn, go through the knowledge and go to the next tier of the coaching levels.
Do they gamify that?
There's gamifications growing a lot. It definitely works. Incentivizing people through communities definitely works. Whether that's monetary incentives or new offers or even merch works for people, like t-shirts, cups, whatever.
So true. And I think like this is the way people want to learn this way, right? So that they're more. I think a hybrid model does work perfectly. It works perfectly for the person who's delivering the content because you don't have to be there all the time, but you are there all the time, right? Like you're there when people need you because they can get and take, listen to your content, view your content, which is a game changer, right? And then also, it supplements what you're doing from a one-on-one level, which is very, very cool. So when you think about, okay, let's just say I was a plumbing company. Could I use your service? Like if you thought outside the box, how could I use your service?
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about digital products, how are you might be sending plumbers into people's homes at the moment to fix things, right? How can people be more proactive with their house and their plumbing or whatever it is? Teaching people that. So it's what you can teach people that ultimately also helps to serve your service. What can people learn? Perhaps it's like, I don't know, new builders building houses. What can we be teaching them? Does it have to be hands-on? I'm sure there's a lot of things that can just be shown via video or instructions.
So true.
And also maybe mentorship, I think, isn't that like for apprentices? Maybe some kind of mentorship. Having it online opens you up a little bit more locally as well. So you're not just having to serve locally. You can go a bit more globally with your service and your offerings, and being able to be the expert in your field.
I thought of a good way. So you could train your plumbers how to sell better.
Yeah.
So you could run a course, like download your IP because you're the owner of the business. You know how to sell best. apparently they're the
Can't
best
clone
people.
yourself.
You can't clone yourself. So why don't you then clone yourself by creating a training course on how to go into someone's house, how to make them feel welcome, and how to upsells.
Yep,
Well,
absolutely.
imagine how much money that would make to your business if you did that, because you could then get your team training on that on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. Can you put in? Can you have like a little quiz inside?
Absolutely.
So you can have a quiz as well, so you know if
Feel
they've done it.
accountable. Yep.
Yep. So you could then, and I guarantee, if you did that, you would make more money inside your business.
Yeah, I actually heard this conversation. I can't remember where. Just recently,
Yeah.
it was very similar. I think it was potentially a plumber or an electrician.
Yeah.
Where they are the skilled person of their business. They
Yeah.
own the business. As they step down or step away from their business, the next electricians coming in are skilled, but in what they do in their craft, but not so much in how to enter someone's home and how to keep things tidy and how to clean up afterwards.
Yeah.
It's all part of your business service, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. Also, professional development.
Yeah.
Fantastic way to keep professional development within your staff.
Yeah.
I've just worked with a client on that recently, where they're able to, make sure that their team are going through the modules and as throughout the year, continuing their learning, ticking things off. And they know, it's an easy place for them to track and keep track of KPIs as well.
Yeah, totally. And that's the cool part about it. Even if you can have a quiz, some testing on the other side, so you can see what people are actually doing and learning.
Yeah.
I think it's an exciting time for business owners, and like sometimes you just have to be prepared to think outside the square.
Yeah.
Right? One thing I think when I look at what you're offering is, to some degree, you are helping a business owner clone themselves, right? And definitely get more time in their day, or get more from the time as well. I think that's really important.
It's a big thing. I think I often talk about out of office. When you first start out, like when I started out, I'm like, yes, I'm going to go to the beach and work from the beach and have cocktails and travel and things. But actually, it's the day-to-day thing. So it's the being able to free yourself up to have more time for your brain, to have more time to be more creative.
Yeah.
If you're in a creative industry, if you're back-to-back meetings and team and everything all the time, you don't get that creative time. That kind of thing, let alone personal things.
Yeah. So to help, like a business owner, it would be the best way to write out what they're doing and how do they know how do they know they need you, right? Because most business owners don't know what they don't know, right? Like until you put it in front of them, then they go, oh yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah. That's why I'm spreading this message far and wide.
So good.
Because I just did a YouTube video on this that outside the box of an online course. An online course is not an online course anymore. How else can we use it? And that's what we've just been discussing now. But I think it's understanding, I guess, from a business owner's point of view, thinking of the plumber again. I think people get to the point sometimes of, is this it? Or I'm full. What else?
Yeah.
Or that how can I help? How can I help more people?
Yeah.
How can I help my team or my clients or more? I want the next step or the next thing. And I have lots of conversations with people.
Yeah.
I love trying to nut that out and figure out other things that we can do.
And I think that's the value there too, right? Because most people, they're stuck inside the picture frame and they can't see the picture, right? Because they're inside the picture frame, and like that sometimes it just takes that different lens off when someone else. What I find exciting, because when you would go meet, say, a plumber or electrician, is you can bring what's working in other industries into their industry, and you can always find ways to develop it in anyone's industry, right? It's especially if as a business owner, you've got IP, and that if you even train someone else on it, it would help them, right? Which is very, very cool. Yeah,
I think too, speaking to someone like me, external from your business, and I know it helps me as well with my business coach and other people I talk to. Someone having a fresh set of eyes on your business and what it looks like, just asking the questions. How are your customers at the moment? How are your team working through things? All that. And then be able to give some fresh perspective definitely helps, because when you're a business owner, you're down in the weeds of your business, the day to day, what needs to happen, and you often can't see the bigger picture. And this is what I love about what I do, because I work with such a variety of industries, like flax floristry to dog grooming to HR career development to everything. And it actually can all be done on digital platforms.
So good. Where do you see the opportunities like moving forward? Like, we've just obviously you've referenced COVID and that, and then obviously there's been a real boom of people wanting to be online and do more online, and now this hybrid, and now the communities. Where do you see the opportunities for business owners? Because obviously technology is playing a big part here. That wasn't around a few years ago.
No, it wasn't. I think, obviously technology, having the ability to work from anywhere most of the time, you know, aside from bricks and mortar, being able to help your customers and clients in new ways, and not necessarily within the 9 to 5. Obviously, development of AI is helping as well. I'm already working a lot in integration and automation with customers, but the AI is definitely coming into it. I'm a big believer in if you're the face of your business, then you still do the face of your business things. AI will definitely help you. It will help you along the way. It will help you with your creative. It will help you there, but never replace yourself and the parts that only you can do in your business. Everything else, see what you can do behind the scenes. Absolutely.
Yeah. What sort of technology is exciting you? What sort of automation are you guys using and integrating into the business?
Support. So the AI support stuff, so like chatbots and things. Again, wasn't a big fan of them a couple of years ago. But now I can see how it can free up, and they're a lot more personalized now as well. So we can train a bot within your online course or your online programs to speak from you, knows your IP and knowledge to answer questions to your customers when you're asleep or when you're somewhere else. So your customers again or your clients team can continue to learn and still be able to get their questions answered as they need.
That's cool. I like that because it's obviously based on your knowledge. So it knows your knowledge. It knows your, the course information that you've got.
You train it and feed it.
You've trained it, you've fed it, and then people can go, hey, I want to know about this, this, and this. And based on that, that's pretty cool, right?
It's very cool. They're very efficient as well. I'm currently using one on my website. It's pretty good. There's a couple of things I have to fix up on it every now and again, but that's all part of it. And in terms of the trends of that kind of industry community, again, is just the really big growing thing.
Why do you think communities are the big growing thing? What's behind that?
A couple of factors. I think, again, coming out of COVID, people crave that face-to-face people interaction again. So it's finding your like-minded people. I think in a way, actually, the pandemic helped us a lot with that because it made us realise that. But also, we, within that time, found our people as well online. And then we were able to come out and see them in real life. But that definitely helped with that. There's also the other side of it. So, again, AI, the growth of AI and where we're not even being able to recognise now when something is AI generated online versus being in a room with people, whether that's online or not. Knowing that they're real people that we're talking to and getting that real vibe back and forwards, being able to share together. And there's also a lot of people wanting to move away from Meta. Getting there, if they've already got existing communities and memberships, getting them off of Meta so that they have more control over them. They own their IP. It's a private space, so it's safe for their community to log in and be represented. They're not distracted by anything else when they're in the community.
So true.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a huge thing.
Yeah, and I think, look, people come for your content, and as Dale Bowman always says, and I say this all the time, they come for your content, but they stay for your community. And building a community is strong. And I think you raised some good points. Face to face, people want to see who they're talking to. I travel to the other side of the world just go and meet people that are my peers, right? Because I know, I know I could probably learn it on YouTube, but I know that if I have an issue, I can call up someone and get an answer within 5 minutes, right? And also know, by eyeballing people who they are, what their values are, and the real information too. And I think that's really important. And I think most people, definitely want to go that way. I think also people, you're right about, the trust around AI is okay, there's some cool stuff happening with it, but there's also some shonky stuff happening with it. And you know what? I think I'd rather just get the information from someone I can know, like, and trust and see.
Absolutely.
And I think also that's the opportunity for a lot of business owners too. There's so many things you can do to get efficiencies, but then as you said, you doing what you're good at, and being real on that, you can really win. You can win both ways. Which I think is exciting for business owners. It's the ones that don't get involved with the AI stuff, I feel sorry for, and also then don't want to front what they're doing.
They're going to be left behind. It's a little bit of you don't know what you don't know, but if you're in a room with people, having conversations, you get to learn more of what you don't know. You don't know. So, I mean, AI, Google, YouTube, whatever, you can only search what you're looking for. Having real life conversations. With people, it's gold.
Talk to me about some of the success stories you've had.
Oh, success stories. With my clients?
Yeah. You don't have to name them or anything. Just
Yeah.
some
I've actually just top of mind, just finished working with a client who came to me. They are in a corporate position working with government agencies and corporates, working with some pretty vulnerable people that have lost their jobs, and the career leadership development business. They came to me wanting to help a lot of people that have just been put out of work recently in New Zealand here, and initially just wanted to speak to me about the platform that they should choose, or what they wanted to do and how that would make sense to be put together in the best way. So we had a really great consultation call together and nutted some things out, determined that Kajabi would be perfect for them, and it has been.
Cool.
And then I worked with them for 3 months to support them and guide them strategically in putting that all in place.
Nice.
They wanted multiple levels of online course, so tiers for people to work through from the beginning. They wanted a community for these people. They're holding regular weekly trainings in there.
Cool.
And they have an array of coaches that are helping these people one-to-one as well. So they wanted people to be able to choose their coach that they wanted to work with.
That's awesome.
There's a coaching portal so people can log in, grab all their assets, do all the pre-homework, schedule their call, all of that, all in one place.
And what's the goal of that program?
To help people progress their careers, find a new career, and some of them have been in the same career for a long time, and just support them actually in a really vulnerable time when they're out of work, to understand what they could be doing next. So they've got their IP, that's not something I know.
No.
They've got their IP, but I think they went from our first call 0 to 3 months and launched that with 200 people in it.
Hey, good.
Because of my support. And even I was astonished at how fast they did it. It's really smooth. We work through the customer journey, what that looks like, because it's not people purchasing. It's inviting people into it, to making sure they had the right access and permissions and things as well. And communication is a big thing as well. So
how did they do that the old way?
In person, probably.
Wow.
Yeah. So
imagine
they
the
would have
hours
been,
they would have stacked up. And
hosting like a webinar in person somewhere in an office. Booking those calls, I don't even think they were using a calendar booking system. One-to-one, the coaches were contacting people back and forwards with emails.
They would have drained them for hours, right?
Waiting for emails to come back again. The coaching especially, I think you'd have coaching notes all over the place, G Drive, OneDrive. If you're government, you'll be restricted to some kind of other drive. The other problem that we had to solve there was that a lot of these people were still in their jobs but knowing they were finishing, had government emails. That was the email address they're using, but once they're out of their job, they've got to, they don't have access to that email anymore. So keeping that access to everything throughout without it being too bumpy for them. So there was a lot of in person that I don't think that they were really managing that well. And so that now they've just been able to make it so efficient. And to get 200 people in there, I bet they could have done 40 people in that time in real life.
Yeah, in real life, that would have been a struggle, right? And now you can.
And it's growing and growing.
Yeah. And like what a cool thing to do, like to help people that have, through no fault of their own maybe, have a change of circumstances with working, and they can come in and obviously have an experience where they can retrain, redevelop, and also give them some confidence that there's opportunities out there for them.
Yeah, so we were really focused on that part of it together, the empathy part of it. How does this look for the client? How does is this comfortable? Are they okay being in a community talking to each other? Yeah, they don't know each other yet. The common factor is that they've lost their jobs. Yeah, but also we built it for future growth as well. So they're now looking, now that they've got people on board and it's all working really well, they're now looking at working with brand partners, so other agencies, other government departments, other large companies in New Zealand, and being able to brand it all to that particular company and grow it from there, all in the one place.
That's brilliant. Like I really,
it's really cool. It's really smooth.
It's a cool story, right? Because out of something that's a bit of a negative to some degree comes a really positive way of doing stuff, and a good use of new technology, right?
Yeah.
Which is like when you just think of the hours that, as I already said, would have been wasted, versus new technology. Seamless to some degree, right?
There's that location factor again too. Potentially not all of their customers were based in I don't know, Wellington or Auckland, wherever they were. So being able to help across New Zealand with those people that are in that position.
Good.
Out. Yeah.
So what do you think about marketing then? How does it play a role in your business, and where do you see marketing fitting in for what you do in your clients?
Yeah, marketing is a huge thing, especially for my clients that are B2C. So working, selling their online course to yoga students, to whoever. It's often a missed factor, unfortunately. a lot of solopreneurs, you know, they're wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
Marketing may not be something they're confident in or know how to do at all. You know, most of us aren't at the start. And then the mistake a lot of people make is they make their online course and then they try to sell it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and they may not have validated it. They may not have an audience yet. And my other, I guess I'm the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff in past years of people who have taken big gurus online courses about how to create an online course.
Yeah.
Without knowing that said big guru also had 500,000 followers beforehand and a hot audience. And there's a lot of hidden things there.
Courses on how to sell a course.
Yeah. This is why I haven't created a course about how to make an online course myself.
Yeah.
Well, just in the trenches helping the people with
that. A lot of the people that made the money in the gold rush were the guys and girls selling the pans.
Exactly.
Right? So this is kind of the same theory to some degree. Yeah. So it's interesting, like, validating your idea. Let's talk a little bit about that, because a lot of times we meet people, and I'm fortunate enough to go and speak at programs where people are just starting out and sharing. And one of the things I always ask people is, are you product first focused or consumer first focused? And most of them have been product first focused. They haven't decided the problem that they're solving. Mm-hmm. They just created a product.
Yeah.
So what do you do to help people validate what they do?
Yeah, when I speak to people to start off with, I always ask the question about what have you been doing already? How established is your business, and why are we moving? Why are we looking to move into the online space? How warm are your audience at the moment? Yep. What do they know? What have they been asking for? Is an important one. And then in terms of actual validation, so we can promote and sell an online course before it's built.
Yeah, totally.
Waitlists are a huge thing.
I did that.
The other great part about that is because you don't spend all your time creating the online course to then have crickets at the other end and you wasted all your time. But also you can then create your online course or program, whatever it is, based on what your customers are asking for. Even after they've purchased, you can hybrid, just make it as you go.
Yeah.
And it's relevant and it's gold to them. Yeah. And that's what will get them singing your praises and getting testimonials.
Yeah. And much to Olivia's disgust, when the bell rung for COVID, I thought, well, we're not going to sit here and do nothing for this time. So people had always asked us how we would do our mini chat and how we did our, how do we build databases and audiences and sell stuff using mini chat. And I said to Liv, let's do a course on how to sell, on how to create it and how to use mini chat to build audiences and sell products. And look, I think she was wishing that I'd never said that, because for 6 weeks of COVID, we didn't have a product. I did a webinar on it. I showed people how we did it. The part that I showed people, I went really, really fast to gold.
Yeah.
But I gave people the reason why you should do it, and then I showed people how to do it. And then everyone was just messaging me, is this being recorded? Is this being recorded?
Yeah. You need to slow it down.
And I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah. And then at the end of it, we made an offer. And I think we had 12 people come on that course for 6 weeks. So the first 4 weeks were in lockdown. And then and we just did a module a week.
Yeah.
During lockdown, the coolest part about it is people, they didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And we got some great testimonials and case studies off that just by teaching people. So the other way we would have done it is like, okay, we've created this course, now buy it. But I don't know, maybe the timing was right because of COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It was something that people always asked us about,
Yeah.
And we were selling it to clients for a lot of money because it would make them a lot of money. I thought, okay, well, this is an opportunity to sell it. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. COVID was definitely the perfect time for that kind of thing. I actually did create a mini course on social media during that time. I'd already kind of recorded it. I hadn't put it on the platform anywhere. Yeah. I ended up just giving it away to people, but I didn't have a platform like Kajabi at the time. So I was so manual, but I had the time because we were in lockdown. Emailing people, checking in on people and everything. But yeah, it's a really, the interesting thing now is that kind of thing, how to use mini chat is actually something that I would recommend now, more of a lead magnet or even a YouTube video to get the subscribers in and find you and go, this person knows what they're talking about. It's mini chat's a really hard thing for some people, but once they know how to do it, they know.
Exactly.
But then you've built that trust. But what else does this guy know? What else can he teach me? Where's his online course?
And I guess, that's the thing, like getting the audience there first. Because if we'd made no sales, we just wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
We'd have gone and made sour bread and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Like,
Watch
we'd have-
Netflix.
Yeah. But because people bought it, they gave us the money, and then we were like, they
Yeah.
were like, oh crap, now we
It
have
was
to
a
do
wild time.
it. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was.
But-
And it's also the difference between this is a big part of the marketing too, I guess, is what kind of online, if you're doing a business to customer online course, how are we selling it? How are we launching it? Are we, a lot of people come to me and they just want this passive income evergreen course. So they want to create their first course and they just want it to do everything on its own and sell. But if you don't have an audience, a marketing strategy, being able to, for better words, pump people into that funnel to buy that course, then, and then the opposite way is to do launches. So launching throughout the year. But again, it's a whole different kind of energy. And, if you can keep up with that, some people will burn out doing that. It's a lot of dependencies depending on your current audience, the need for things. The timing, like, COVID.
Yeah, totally. I think, but like solving a problem first is one of the key things to that, right? Building something around a problem that you're solving. Also, what is it that people are asking you all the time about? Like we wouldn't have created a course on Google Ads because, we get asked about it, but like everyone used to ask us all the time about ManyChat. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? Oh, you pay this money and we do it. So I think that's one of the key things that people, what are people asking you all the time? And look, also, you don't have to create a course here. This is about like taking your IP and how do you get it out into the world to help people, speed people along into help, doing what you're doing, right?
Is it a checklist? Is it a digital ebook? Is it whatever it is? Even one video, the webinar.
And still, like, if you're a coach, having your IP there that can actually help you onboard clients, onboard customers, and have more time doing that. I think that's a key thing as well, right?
And when you're getting started, just solving that one initial issue. So, like I say, the ManyChat, that just solving that, and then they know that you've got the key to something else. The issue with teaching people or creating online courses in technology is that the technology is always changing.
Changes
So
too
if you
fast.
had done a Google Ads one in lockdown, that's completely changed now, right? The infrastructure, same for me with Kajabi. The whole platform's changed since. So and developed.
I think the hybrid thing is
which is why hybrid is so important.
It's a great way to go, right? Like having a hybrid model where you can teach like a signature of what you already know. And then supplement that with live calls, one-on-one calls. That's pretty cool. Like must be huge demand for that.
Yeah, there is a huge demand. It's getting coaches and things out of the mindset though that this is not a passive thing. Nothing is residual or passive, because even if you create an online course that you just set and forget, you're always going to have to update it. You're going to have to market it. Like there's always something. So it's just getting out of that. But I think more and more people are understanding that now.
Why do you think people wanted the passive stuff?
They want the magic wands.
Yeah. Like I know a few people like that, and I just look. I know that you just have to work, and you have to work, and you have to work harder today than you ever did before. But at the same time, you can work smarter as well. And I think that's where the hybrid comes in. Like there's no such thing as just build it once and they will come. Like that is a dream that never really.
There's a very few people that can do that, but they've already done that hard work to establish themselves to that place.
Yeah, they've built an audience off the back for years and years and years.
Or they're celebrities or they're whatever. Yeah.
So if you were talking to, who is your ideal customer that you want to talk to when you're thinking about this kind of business that you're doing?
Yeah, I think established businesses, because they've already got that base of their IP, their knowledge, and they've got that need. So consultants or coaches or even been talking about facilitators lately, because I see them in a way as coaches as well. Wanting to not necessarily supplement, but support what they're doing already with in person. Get out of the way of themselves being the bottleneck in the business or for their team. Even a lot of internal onboarding training happening at the moment as well. It's those people that are just looking to step out from just being the in-person person and having to be, if you're a speaker, yes, you have to be there to be a speaker. We can't automate that for you. But what else can be happening in the background of your business while you're speaking? How are you supporting other people other ways? Also, not everyone can afford to be, to work with you in a one-to-one capacity maybe. So, if you have that inclination to work with people that can't, then, how can we support them as well?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it too, right? So how can you like build capacity in other people while you're working with, like your ideal client who can pay you, but hey, helping other people lift other people up as well.
Yeah.
By providing them the
I
content.
think especially if you're getting that constant question from people, like the mini chat or whatever, how
Yeah.
can we just throw something together to help support them
Yeah.
to start?
Yeah.
And then how can we grow that? Who else can we bring in alongside you?
Yeah.
Members of your team to grow alongside you
Yeah.
with that, to be that hybrid person. You may
Yeah.
not even have to be that hybrid
Yeah.
person in that case that's being the one-to-one coach in the community. It could be someone else working alongside you that has equal amount of IP as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Lots to think about, right? Like it's when you start thinking about what you could do in a business and how you could essentially, get out of the office. And I guess getting out of office by design is, hey, getting that time back, right?
Yeah.
Once I get out of office though, what do I do with my time?
Yeah, some people struggle with that. Actually, especially if you free yourself up pretty quickly, and you're like, "What am I doing? What is my life without work?"
Yeah,
and actually, that's the part of the by design is actually planning or not knowing what you want to do, or at least having an idea of what it is that you want to do. Have you got into business to spend more time for the freedom to spend more time with your family?
Yeah.
If so, book that in. You've got your day off. You're not just sleeping in unless you booked in sleep. What are you doing with your family on that day? Creating those areas in your life, the big rocks. I've heard you talk about the rocks before. Creating those big rocks first, and then fitting everything else in around it. So, is it a family holiday to Disneyland this year? Is it a trip? A sports trip down south for something. Whatever it is that you otherwise cannot fit in. And working towards that.
I think that's so important. Like a good friend of mine, Andy Carruthers, has been on the podcast. Hi. He seriously is such a good planner when it comes to his adventures with himself and his friends and his family.
Yeah.
And I always used to, like, when we were in the mastermind group together, I always love hearing his 90 days because he would have been here, here, and here. And I remember the third or fourth time I was like, man, how do you do this? And he goes, I plan it.
Yep.
And I was like, this is good. Like when you think of like all he's doing and he's planning, and I'm like, so I just started doing that and like not guilty about it one little bit. I had a client, or no longer a client, but he had a crack at me for going away during a school holiday.
Yeah.
And then, I felt bad at the time, but I axed him, because I'm not having that because it's my life by design, right?
Yeah.
And I work harder in those other hours that people don't see,
exactly.
right? But I think, as a by design is really, really key, right?
Yeah. It comes part of your value piece as well.
Yeah.
Like that example there, those values were not aligned with that client by that stage. And I think it becomes default.
Yeah.
That's the fun thing,
Yeah.
I head away from New Zealand every winter.
Yeah.
There's always things, even though I don't have kids or a partner, there's things that I have to sort out to be able to do that. I bought a house last year, so that's now my crux to figure out while I'm away. But it's happening.
Yeah.
I'll figure out how it's going to happen. Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing when you start to look at what, you do, and speaking to the audience here, start thinking about, okay, well, how could what could I do? I think that's the question too. What could I do? If my business was by design, what are some of the areas where I always look at leverage? Where could I get more leverage? How could I have a hybrid model that could actually help me, educate my plumbers on how to sell? How could I, there's a whole bunch of things when you start looking at it. What could I do? And I think that's the question. A lot of people go, well, that's not for me, but it could be, right?
It's a big mindset thing, the belief that you can do it. For me, it was not a belief that I could leave New Zealand for winter every year.
No, how did you strengthen your mindset?
It's through personal development.
Yep.
Yeah. So I definitely, before even this iteration of business, I was working with a life coach, just figuring out, I was sitting in corporate twiddling my thumbs going, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
I literally was a cover role for someone who had a full-time role that didn't turn up to work enough. So that was why I had a role.
Wow.
This was government. And I was like, what, why? No purpose at all.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to figure all that out. I was working with a life coach. I've worked in a lot of careers in different areas and industries. And we worked out through a few things that I am not a winter person.
Yeah.
Winter's not for me. And so she was like, well, why don't you head away for winter? And I couldn't. I'm a very logical person. I still am. So I couldn't understand how I was going to do that. How could I have a job and do that?
Yeah.
How could I afford to do that?
Yeah.
What happens with housing? What do I put with stuff? Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost? All that.
Yeah.
Couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Until sort of almost by accident, I ended up having a winter away. I went on a trip with a friend, and then I managed to have an opportunity to house sit in Guatemala for a Kiwi family.
So good.
And suddenly I was away for winter and I was like, this is happening.
Yeah.
This is before I really had an online business that was earning any money.
Yeah.
But then that's what I figured out along
Yeah.
the way was how can I then support that. Came back to New Zealand, was doing 6-month contracts, and then going away again for winter while I was still figuring out the online business world.
Do you think the universe made space for you once you kind of had that ball rolling and the idea?
I think once I realized I was doing it when I was sitting in Guatemala and I was like, that coach said I could do that. And I didn't believe it. And here I am doing it.
Yeah.
It's the belief. Yeah.
The belief.
Yeah. And then going, oh, okay. So how, and like, I have a job, like I was at the very lowest end of it. Like, how am I making this work and how can I make this easier?
How did any of your friends, family say anything about that? What are you doing like today?
Oh yeah. It's still because it's not traditional, right?
Yeah.
So, it's definitely, COVID definitely helped.
Yeah. True.
Especially in the corporate world. The position I was working in during that time in contract wouldn't allow us to work from home.
Oh, wow.
No work from home.
Yep.
And then I didn't work for them when COVID happened, but when COVID happened, I was like, I bet they've figured out how everyone can work from home now. Yeah. So there's a real mindset shift. Yeah, that your family and your friends worry for you, of course. How can you afford that? Are you going to be able to afford to buy a house because of this? Like all that, all the traditional things that I never fell into the lane of.
Yeah. What do you love now about the fact that you've proved that to yourself, though?
That I believe in other things that I could do as well.
True.
Now.
How good.
Still sometimes I'm like hesitant, but I'm like, but we've got this far. We've done it. Yeah.
So when you were doing the personal development, what sort of obviously going to a life coach and they're asking you questions and figuring stuff out? Were you reading stuff as well, or like going to courses? What else were you doing?
Yeah. I got into a real phase of lots of personal development.
I think that's one of the keys to really working out who you are, where you are, what you want to do. Yeah. You have to get this right. Like without this, like you will struggle a lot. And there's a lot of beliefs that a lot of people don't realize that are attached to them.
Absolutely.
And without doing the work, I think Jim Rohn said it best: work harder on yourself than you're doing your job. And he really meant that, right? Like work hard on this thing.
And it's ongoing. It's not like we just did the work and now we've got the degree. It's ongoing. And now we've got tools. I've got tools and resources from the work that I did. That I use every day. Every day, do a little bit of meditation or listening to podcasts, whether that's business podcasts or mindset podcasts. Also, I think surrounding yourself with the right people, which sounds really cringy. And I remember when I first heard that, going, so I have to ditch all my other friends. That's dumb. Like, how am I going to do that? But understanding that that's actually just, getting yourself in the right rooms enough of the time. And that's what part of the personal development was. Being in the right spaces in terms of networking or even just in your life. Like, I was going to a CrossFit gym and that's a huge amount of mindset and personal development work done there as part of the culture.
I think you made a good point, putting yourself in the right rooms, like knowing that you sometimes need to go into another room. Like you need to go and meet other people, go and force yourself to go to that networking or go to that CrossFit or go over somewhere overseas to go and learn something. You have to put yourself in other spaces to I guess open other opportunities, but also open yourself up to go, you know what, I can do this.
Open yourself up. I think that's what I realized when I started to do the travel and things like that. Oh, other people already do this.
Yeah. And then like all of a
this
sudden...
is totally possible because there's other people doing it.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you break those glass ceilings that you thought were there, right? Because no one showed you or you didn't see it the other way, right?
No, and your traditional, where you are at home here, everyone else is working 9 to 5, hard on their businesses, their family, their whatever. So you're a bit different, but you have to be prepared to be that.
And I think that like life by design, like it's like end of the day, it's your life. If you want to do that, that's fine. What would you say what's the gift that your business has given you?
Oh, the freedom. Like I said, not just the freedom to travel, but the freedom to have brunch with a friend who's on maternity leave this morning. To ironically now my parents have started to retire, so they live in Ashburton, so they'll come up on any given Wednesday and go, we're coming up, do you want to have lunch?
Nice. You have the freedom to do that.
Yeah, to do that and to enjoy. I mean, I don't enjoy playing golf, but if I did, then I'd be out playing golf with them as well every day.
Yeah, nice.
It's those things that you don't think of. I think if you were a parent, the freedom to be able to just go to a school assembly.
Yeah, totally.
Go on a school day trip, whatever it is. Yeah,
that's a big one here. Like so myself and Olivia, Liv has a little boy Harry. Well, he's not little, he's 11. But I'm a massive believer that she should be going to see Harry do his things, and I'm the same with Louis. And I think as a business owner, you should want for your employees to be able to do that as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, and family's important, and you don't want them to miss those moments.
Yeah.
And sadly, I think a lot of people growing up or owning a business, sometimes they miss those moments and you never get them back. And that's why I'm real steadfast on school holidays. Like, I'll be on holiday for one, if not two of those school holiday weeks, because I'm not going to miss those moments.
Yeah. And without the guilt too.
No.
Without the guilt of being away from whatever.
Yeah.
Because you know that whatever you've got in place, you're covered. Your clients are looked after.
Totally. And if I have to, I'll work between 4 and 5 in the morning, or 4 and 6 in the morning when they're not up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just a no-brainer. But at the same time, knowing how you build a good team and a good group of people around, you can actually do that, right?
Yeah.
But it's by design. It's not just made up,
Yeah, you have to make it happen. Yeah.
Kate, I have to put you on the spot. I put everyone on the spot, but I think you're going to breeze through this, and you'll have some great ideas. Let's go to that business owner that's thinking of creating something hybrid. What are 5 things they really need to do to get that working in their business?
Book a call with me.
Yeah, no, totally.
Or with anyone that they admire or that is already doing it.
Yeah.
To understand what kind of possibilities there are. Again, it's what we were just talking about. Get yourself in the room.
Yeah, I think that's really important though, because if you're going to do this, work with someone who knows, who's got track record and got runs on the board doing this, because I think this is not something you can do by yourself. Like, I think, you could do it by yourself. You could do it by yourself,
Not efficiently.
but not efficiently, and you won't get the bigger picture because you're standing inside the frame.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So getting that conversation happening.
Yeah.
I think understanding too that it's not an easy task.
Yep.
It's an investment that you're making now for future. And really prioritizing that.
Yeah.
Because I do see it time to time where we'll have this call, we'll make the plan, and then the clients really struggle to get the online content created, or it's really delayed because it's really hard to get in front of the camera and talk about what you do and make it professional and all of that. Really prioritizing it, I guess, and being realistic about time frames.
And I think, look, most business owners will underestimate how much money it costs, how much time it costs, and
and then let alone the procrastination. The imposter syndrome. Perfectionism. All of that comes with it.
Okay, so we've booked the time, we've prioritized the time and maybe some of the money. What next?
Getting a solid plan in place. So timeline, and being realistic about that as well with whatever other priorities you have, and having accountability with that timeline.
Nice.
It's really important. Understanding the technical side of it. So, you might be really great at what you teach, flax floristry, but you don't know how to turn on a video camera. You have no idea how it's going to get online or how people are going to get access to it. So, either speaking to an expert about that, getting someone to help you with that, or a team member being upskilled in that as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Again, future focused. Not only is it about the build, it's about the future.
Because the technology side of it is probably where a lot of people get overwhelmed, right?
Yeah. It's what stalls a lot of people.
Yeah. And even like I can hear people go, "Oh, I've got to record stuff." You can hear the roadblocks starting to come, and this is why I really believe you don't want to do this yourself. You want to work with someone who's got the runs on the board that can then go and help you do it.
Yeah. Because there's going to be a lot of mindset roadblocks, let alone skill set roadblocks. So it's a lot of roadblocks, a lot of road cones.
but the value out the other side of it is so important, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to do, but it's easy not to do. And I think that makes it hard too because of the technology, right?
And technology is evolving all this as well. So it's keeping up with the current trend of thinking there's a magic wand when there's not. I would say too, I don't know if this is something to do, it's probably something not to do. Don't overproduce whatever you're creating.
Nice.
Yeah, MVP, most viable product.
Nice.
Like we said, testing that with the audience first, is that what people want? Creating the initial version of it, whether it's just a webinar to start.
Yeah, so true.
is important. We call it the beta testing, like
Yep.
being in the first group to
Yeah,
go
nice.
through it, whether that's current clients, friends and family, so long as they understand your business,
Yeah.
and getting the reviews and testimonials and feedback from
Yeah.
that.
That is a good one. Like, don't overproduce. Like, too many people think, okay, and you can get it because some people are really like, they're not going to produce. My name's not going on that unless it's super slick and like they overproduce it and then no one comes.
Yeah, I have a great example of it that I always tell people is I had a client who they just created a really smart, slick online course, but it's the type of industry or knowledge that needs to be updated all the time.
Yeah.
And they created that in an actual production studio. One of the people that's in the business is actually a producer, so they did that. Then COVID hit, and they were launching their next round of their course, and they needed to update some of the content. And so the client was sitting on her couch, almost in her pajamas, creating the next round of videos, and that's now mixed in with the high quality production.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, like actually,
No.
the audience is getting the knowledge. That's all that matters. Actually, is the audience getting the knowledge. But if you're going to overproduce, and that's what's going to hold things up, like and stop things happening and having to redo and re-edit and things, then no, keep it at a base, I guess, that is achievable to continue and update content and things. So I have another client, she just wears a white t-shirt in all her videos.
Brilliant.
Because then she can update and just wear a white t-shirt
like
wherever
that.
she is.
Yeah, that's
It doesn't
smart,
matter
right?
when she's re-recording it.
Yeah, and it's kind of seamless.
Yeah.
I think that overproduction will definitely stop people too. Like, it'll stop them from moving forward. Where, hey, if I've just got a minimum viable product, and it's out there, we can learn and evolve along the way as well.
Yeah, and your customers want your knowledge. They actually want you. They come for the knowledge, but they want you.
Yeah.
And so they don't care if you're wearing a green shirt or whether you've got your hair tied up or not. Whether you've got makeup on or not. They're just there for it. Yeah. And if camera is an issue, audio is actually a really popular way to teach now as well. So
cool.
People are on the go. People are on the move. There's massive distractions.
They're going to listen to this.
They want to listen in the car. They want to listen while they're hanging out the clothes on the line. Yeah.
So good. Look, really 5 really good takeaways. One thing for me is like, I can't stress enough, book a call. So where do people get a hold of you? Like, where's you?
They can jump on my website.
Yep.
nzoutofoffice.com.
Nice.
That's me.
And
see
you're
a
on
photo of me
LinkedIn?
and my togs.
You're on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Yep, you can find me hanging out over on LinkedIn. I'm on all the social media platforms, all at NZ Out of Office.
Brilliant. Well, we'll put all the details for Kate in the show notes and on the website. So, do you have like a free call? How do you work? Do you like do an introduction to people?
Yeah, you can book a free call via my website. So free 30-minute call so we can have a chat, ask you about your business and what you're looking to do, and speak about some opportunities there as well and how we can work together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have various services and how I work with people. So
So that's pretty risk-free, right? Like, that's a great way to
absolutely.
open the door to people and see if it's right for them.
Yeah, I'm a very honest person too, so I'll tell you if it's
Nice.
right.
Nice. Hey, Kate, this has been a great. I really enjoyed your talking to you and finding out some real cool things that you're actually doing to help business owners. And I really appreciate you coming on because, I really want people to learn more from other people, to see what's possible, and I'm glad we talked about not just online courses for likes of coach and stuff. Maybe there's some ideas that, for the plumbing company, for the building companies, there's so many good ideas. And I think if this has sparked a little bit of interest in your head, then make sure you contact Kate. Take her up on a free half an hour, ask her a bunch of questions and see how you could build that hybrid model, because I think it's in your business. And if you've watched this far, that it's in your business and you just need someone to help you out. So do that. Okay, so Kate, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Okay, and now your job as well. You've only got one other job, and that's to share the podcast. Someone needs to hear this message, and it's up to you to share it. So please share it. Share it out on LinkedIn, share it on Instagram, wherever you are watching this, even, Spotify, whatever you're doing, just make sure you share it. That way we can help more people and we can make New Zealand even a better place. I know we're getting a lot of downloads in Australia now, even Papua New Guinea, which is pretty cool. There's some real good downloads coming. So just thank you for sharing. You're part of this community. We've got some great guests coming up. But today, your only job is to share this podcast. All right. Thanks for your time. As always, have fun, take action, and always celebrate your victories.